two, one.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Albert Benahan, your board member at the same time, your chair of student and family or here in Bridgeport School. I'd like to welcome everyone. First of all, I have to say thank you for all staff from Superintendent's office, Ms. Lita, IT department, Mr. John, and everyone help us to be sure our committee meetings go out and for the parent, for the students, for the staff, and for the community. Thank you so much for all the staff and all your hard work you guys do. Like to welcome my committee, Ms. Brown, Mr. Joe is part of my committee. Either Mr. Doctor, I call Doctor, but Mr. Planners. Thank you for being here, and of course, great person, Ms. Rocha. Thank you for being always with us. Trying to give information to our leaders, and we got our great friends, Mr. John. Thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate you take the time to be with us. So I'm going to start the meeting to approve the minutes for the last meeting. I need to have a proof for that, please. One of my committees. I know that Ms. Brown, she is in the tablet because she's kind of California. Maybe the connection is not going well. The same thing, Mr. Joe have a little problem, but I know they really hear me. So if they tell me the proof, the approve for the minutes, I know they will, but I know the connection with them is a little tight for them because they really talked to me early. So I'm gonna put that on the side, and then before the meeting is done, I will ask him. So I just want to keep going, but at the same time, I forgot to add something in the agenda. But I really spoke with my committee, and they say yes, that I want to give you to everyone, to all the pack leaders, the information about the new district pack we will going to have here in Bristol School. That we really make a small meeting with some parents, some leaders, and I just want to put this for the record to be sure that everything was legal the way it's supposed to be. We make sure that all the parents, all the PAC and PTSO leaders here from Bristol School receive an email that after Mr. Destani had last month a roundtable with the leaders, that I'm going to be talking after he finishes meeting. I'm going to be talking to the leaders about what is district pack, what the draft of the bylaws, and I have the support for a lot of leaders that we vote. We when they say we, everybody votes. So they make the decision. Just give me 1 second, please. I want to be correctly that I have everything in my notes that they really decide and vote to get the district pack back. They have the video vote about the district pack bylaws. I'm having back that want to be sure what school say yes to get the district pack back. So first of all, I'm going to put exactly for the record. When we did this, it was January 26, 2021. To be sure that we have, to be sure, sorry, I need to read so many things. Have the district pack back, and they approved the district pack bylaws. This is the schools names: Classical Story, Real School, Centra, Barnum, Basic, Hall School. They are in Fairchild Willis. They approve and vote to be sure we have our district pack and the district pack bylaws back. We had one school, they vote no to have the district pack, that was Edison, and we got one abstain, that was Fairchild and Hammond School. So I'm sorry, let me a little confused. That was for the have the district pack back. For the district pack bylaws, the draft one, the school vote yes, it was Classical Story, Risk School, Centra, Basic, Hall, and Fairchild Williams vote yes. We don't have no no, we have no, and we have only one abstain. That was Edison School. So the first motion for have all this back Y'all want to be sure to be in the record. The first one was Tammy Boa. She was the PTSO for Madrid High School. And the second motion approved was Catherine Rosa. She's the PAC president for Barton School. So I will give you more detail, more information. I'm going to put in the minutes to John, so John, they can have everything clear on that. So do you, any parents, any leaders have any questions, you can contact me. This district pack was going for many years, that before I was a board member, I'm trying to have it. So all these pack those leaders, they can have someone where they go working, ask questions, where they can, with who they can talk, if they have any issues with the budget, with the money, so they can have someone, this organization, go through and they can ask questions. Because I know Miss Rocha, Mr. Testani, and myself, we're going to be busy doing so many things, with the schools, with teachers, with, for students, with so many things. People think that we are sitting down or we got a title and we're not doing nothing. And that's wrong. One of us, we're doing so many things that sometimes our agenda is go over. It's overload. It's something, and something, anything happen right now with the COVID-19, every day we were waiting for something new. So we have to be ready for so many things. So we need to have this district act. So any situation, questions, answers, or budget, or how to do this, where to order, we have this organization that can go to them or this leader. And then if in the district pack they see they don't have no answer, or they cannot help one of the leaders, that was Miss Russia, she going through, or me, or one of my committee. So I just want to put that for the record, to be sure that we going to have, I'm sorry, to have the district pack and the district pack bylaws. They're official. We're gonna be they're working now. The committee, but have to have a committee, parents from Bristol School, to get election, to vote, and to get who won the district pack president, the vice president, and the secretary, stuff like that. But they had to be parents for Bristol schools. Um, Hello, Mr. Joe. I also just you make a motion first. I know you have a little difficult technology, and Ms. Brown approve for the minutes. I'd like to know if you can approve it.
I'm here, Albert.
Oh, hi, Ms. Brown.
Hi.
So I just wanna you mute Mr. Joe.
Did
What's
you
the
make
date
the
on the
motion
minutes?
to approve the minutes?
Yeah, just make approve for the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. So I just put that standby because I know you guys have a little problem with the technology, so that's why I put it. All right, so like I was saying, guys, I don't know if you hear me, Brown and Joe. I just gave a little motion for the information about the drift attack. So I just want to put that
Sorry.
in the so
Are you
everybody
looking
knows.
to add that
know
to the agenda? Are you looking for a motion to add that to the agenda?
Sorry, Miss Brown, I didn't hear you very clear.
Are you looking for a motion to add that to the agenda?
Little difficult to hear you, Miss Brown.
She said, were you looking to add something to the agenda?
No, yeah. I just did it in the beginning for the juristic pack, so I forgot to add that. That's why just call you guys and let you know that I'm gonna add that so we can have that in the record. But I just give you the information, and when anything I will send more the information, the names, and the detail to Mr. John so he can put in the minutes. So I'm gonna try to keep going in the agenda, and I know that's Mr. Plana. I like some information about Colombo school survey, because I know the last time we trying to put it with Mr. John Weldon, but he told me that he forgot stuff like that. So I just parents, they would ask me what's going on, and I want to know the survey, what's going on with the Colombo school, about the name, and I know we want to know, what's the update. So Mr. Plana, your floor is yours.
Yes, yeah. At this time, we have no information in regards to the to Columbus School survey. Um,
I believe that Mr. Testani, he was telling he got some percent last time about survey. Parents sent some survey, he got it. So but he don't have exactly total. So I thought,
Yeah.
he give it the information, stuff like that. Right, Mr. Joe, that he said something, it was some percent parent ask, send some survey.
Yeah, but it was a poor response at that time, and he was supposed to complete it. But I don't know if he got it completed or not. Probably no movement on it or something like that.
Yeah. May I speak or?
Mr. Blanes.
Yes. So as of today, we can't. I spoke to Mr. Grasti, and we have no formal information, concise information put together to present. I know that there's some things that are happening in the background at this time, but there's nothing formal that we have at this point.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna keep following with Mr. John Weldon to ask him, what happened, and Mr. Testani, what happened with that, survey, the percent, because I just want to know the reaction. What is his opinion exactly with the parents? What they want to do in the school in the committee. You have any question for that, Mr. Joe, Ms. Brown?
No question.
No questions. I just hope we can bypass all that, and all of us just vote to change the dang name already.
All right, let's see what the parents, what they want in the community. But I'm gonna follow what Mr. Testani, what happened with that survey. Thank you, Mr. Brown. I appreciate that. The second in the agenda is the data update of the number of students attending in the person and the number of removed learners. I believe that you're Mr. Planner. Can you give me some information with that, please?
Sure. We provided in the packet the list, the complete list by school. If you notice in the packet, I believe is page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, page 5. And what you will see there is the total of in-school students is 10,767, which is 56% of our population. Distant learners is 8,219. That will be 44% of our population, for a total of 18,986 students. We also notice, you will notice that some of the top schools that have in-school learners, students that are in school, is, for example, BlackRock, with 79% of their population at 364 out of 490. You will also notice in that list, Discovery has 70% of their population, 333 out of 479 students attending in school.
I see Bataya too. They have a big mount.
Yeah, you're correct. The larger schools have over 50%. So Batalla and Blackham have 64 and 63%, accordingly.
I was very surprised with Johnson School for I got 519. It was good.
Yeah, Johnson School has 69% of their students attending, and that's one of my schools. So I know that Ms. Wolf is doing an amazing job to try to get as many students into the 4-day rotation as possible. She's really speaking to parents daily and try to make sure that, as all the other principals, they're trying to get as many back as possible. I know some parents are still hesitant about bringing the kids back, but we're showing that our numbers are low. We are a safe place for students to come in person, and we're taking every single precaution possible in order to make this happen.
Yeah, I see yeah, you give it to us, the information, and I seen it's a lot of school. There's a lot of kids going to school. I see very very less. I was very surprised on for the basic, they got very low, knowing that basic have a a total eight almost 900 kids.
Yes, but I know Dr. Riola is working hard to target and contact various grade levels. I know that they're working hard. All the high schools are working really hard. It's difficult. You know, it's difficult to convince. You know, because it's a very tough time. But I think as time progresses and we could show that our numbers stay low, I think more people will come in, and
Yeah,
more parents
that's
will.
what I asked. That's what I asked because sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Blana, because I know a lot of parents ask me, oh, how many kids go to school? How many kids go and you're doing in a online stuff like that? That's what I got. Need that information so I can show to the parent, whoever asks me, listen, look at the different, look at how many kids going in school, how many kids going in the online. You know, it's not, you know, of course, I'm a dad before a leader, and any person, and you too, Mr. Blana, that and Joe, that are really, as a parent, we a little scared what's going on in the school. So, and this is good information. I see Harding High School is like a half and half in and half out. You see
Yeah, yeah.
that?
Yeah, they're the high school with the most amount of kids coming back. So it's nice to see that almost 50% back.
Yeah. I know they're trying to do the best, you know, they can, and I know education is very. I always say this for the day one. I know education always going to be there, but the life of kids or any staff or anyone can be gone for that second. And that's why the parents sometimes are scared. But I appreciate your information, Mr. Prana. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Well, I'm going for number 4 in the agenda, my favorite part.
Mr.
The
Chair, I got a
packet
question.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I got a question. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Joe. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Planis, we got in person and we got distance. Do we have any students that are unaccounted for?
At this point, I don't have that information. I know that we have some that we're still looking at. I know the numbers. I don't know if the exact numbers, but there are some out there. We are working diligently to ensure that everyone is accounted for. But obviously, with the pandemic, with movement, with things like that, it's difficult to know exactly. I know one thing we were talking about is as students, their computer system has ways of tracking the location of where students are. So when they turn it on, we get a tracking mechanism to find out, what location, what state, exactly what country, because sometimes, they're not even in the United States. So we could find out exactly through that mechanism. In most cases, we've been able to call various locations where, we get information from and things like that. But we continue to strive to find out exactly where all of our students are.
Right, I'd be interested to know just how many are unaccounted for and what kind of outreach is being made to, because I know some kids may have transferred schools without letting us know, or decided to go to private school and just not pick up their paperwork, or God forbid something else is going on that we need to find out.
Exactly. I know all the schools are diligently looking at their list, looking at the chronic absenteeism list over and over, and making sure that we have located every single student and we know where every single student is.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Plana, thank you, Mr. Joe. Ms. Brown, you have any questions, Ms. Brown? If you can hear me? The connection that went there. She's in. You hear me? No. Mr. Plana, I have a question for you. How many students is in the classroom so far? How many students exactly has to be in the classroom when it's elementary or high school? Exactly.
You mean in each room, an average of 14 students in each classroom, between 14 and 15 students. Some classes have much less, depending on the amount of kids that are coming back. But the average is right around 14 due to the space that we have, a maximum of 14 due to the space we have to position the students. Yeah,
so let's say, give example, and the teacher receive, let's say, 20 students, and it's 14, the maximum. The other ones go in another classroom?
So what we do is we do the 2-day and 2-day. So you get a certain amount that come in on one day, and the other certain amount that come in the other 2 days. So we switch it. Obviously, there's some students that are receiving special education services, and they must come every single day, all the 4 days. And then you also have students who are receiving ESL and bilingual services. ESL services that also we want to ensure that they are receiving that daily. So we try to maximize, but at some points we have to rotate all the students.
Okay. So in other words, let's say the staff let them know how many students are gonna come that day, so she don't have no extra, and then they switch, right? So we are clear.
Right. So all the parents should know when their students are to come to school. And if that changes, where someone drops off or there's an extra person, then we have some lead time in between to ensure that those parents could make arrangements so that we could have them come in or not. Our hope is that with the COVID regulations, as they change, that we could bring everybody back.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Plan. I appreciate that. Yeah. Another question, Mr. Joe or Ms. Brown?
That 15 number, that's for basically the high of the elementary schools, correct? 'Cause I'd imagine high schools would definitely, with the AB schedule, would be probably significantly lower.
Right. It depends on the size of the room. That's an average. So obviously we have schools that have bigger rooms and they might hold more students. So I'm talking if you average in a classroom, if you look at all the classrooms, they have an average of 14 students, some less and some a little bit more.
Right. Yeah, because I'm thinking like when you said which one had 50%? Harding, right? Harding has like 50%. So if you got a normal size classroom of 28 students, so that's 14 in total coming basically in person. And the alternating days, that should be like 7 or 8 or so.
Yeah. And it's a possibility. It's a possibility that some class, in fact, when I go to school, sometimes you do see that, but we try to maximize the amount of time that students are coming in. I mean, if we could have, if we only have 11 kids coming in and in that one room, we try to ensure that they come in all 4 days. But sometimes if they go over the limit of that size of the classroom, then it's more difficult because we want to make sure that they're safe.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Hello, Ms. Brown. I can see you have a beautiful son over there. Bring that son over here for Bridgeport.
I'm in LA for the moment.
Oh, you're very lucky. We had snow last night, so you're still cold. All right, thank you, Mr. Plana. Do you have any question, Ms. Brown, for Mr. Plana?
No questions.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna keep the agenda number 4, my February part, the PAG and PTSO updated budget spending, and what school don't have PAG and PTSO. Ms. Rocha, that you got the floor for that.
Yes. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you. Thank you
Okay.
so much for being with us tonight.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm just going to pull up the information that you asked for in regard to the spending. So the good news is that since the last time I presented the information on January 15th, there has been a significant increase in the expenditure rates. It's not where we want it to be. So this was January. This is the elementary and middle was at 21.9. High school was at 22. As of yesterday or today, elementary and middle is up to 52.2 and high school is up to 41.7. So there's a significant increase, which is great. But we did want to be at about 80% the percentage as of right now. So we do definitely still have a good amount of work to do. As you know, everything needs to be submitted by April 1st. And so that's where we are with that. There are 5 schools that are at 0%. So obviously those are the schools that we are going to be working closely with moving forward. 2 schools with extremely low percentage, and then there are 8 schools that are used under 50%, but close to half. So, we're going to kind of focus on the ones that have 0, try to figure out what's going on there, supporting their PAC leaders to start submitting some of the budgets, so that way we can get that money spent. And as you know, we have the monthly roundtable with the superintendent. I have the PAC team that I'm working on, supporting parents through that. These reports were sent to the administrators as well, so they know exactly how much of their budget has been sent. And so we're just trying to make sure that the administrators are involved, as they always are, really helpful to support the parent leaders to spend some money. And the other information that you requested, I sent to you the list of the PAC and PTSO leaders from each building. And I am happy to report that all the administrators have identified and submitted the names. There was actually an error on the list that I sent to you. It said it was updated 1/17. It was actually updated yesterday, 2/17. So I apologize for that, but it was updated yesterday, and it is a comprehensive list of all of the PAC and PTSO leaders from every building.
All right, so I would appreciate, when you get a chance, you can send me that list so I can put it, together. I don't want to, I'm confused, get the old ones, the one you send it to me, please.
The one that was sent to you from Mr. Grassi is the correct one. It just had the wrong subject on the file, but I will revise it and send it back.
All right, okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Yes, I see the budget of the thing, and I'm worried. And I see some school, like you say, I know we want, and for this month, we're supposed to be what, 60-70% at least, something right?
Exactly.
I know they're trying their best, and I'm trying my best. I call them and push them to see, what we can do the best we can. But I'm having a meeting soon with Central High School. You see Central High School, they don't spend 0, nothing. But I'm gonna tell you now, Ms. Rocha, that they are giving the wrong information to the SPAC leaders. Because I cannot believe, and very free to say it, that how come the Central High School, they report them and tell them they don't have no money because of the pandemic, because the situation of the COVID-19, there's no go Title I and no grant money. That's why the PAC president and the vice president and the secretary was very in shock when I called them and I talked to them. I said, no, that's wrong. You got that money, that $13,270, you have to spend it before April 1st. So she was in shock. I spoke to the PAC president, PTSO president, and we're gonna sit down and I'm gonna help her to spend that the much they can. If you got told you want to spend the whole thing, we sit down the whole day to be sure you spend that money. So she's with me in that situation. But at some schools, I'm in little in shock because Clayton School, and that's the number 831. Clayton School spend 1,072. I'm a little confused, Mr. Rocha, and we need to be on top of that. Some schools, they don't have no PAC. How come they're spending that money when there's no PAC there? So I don't know what's going on in the school. I've been email because there's no PAC right now in Clayton School. It's no PAC because I know the situation of what's going on with the PAC president. She resigned and stuff like that. So how come they're spending the money? We got another school that I give you like a Teasdale. It's no PAC there, and they send it, and that's what they informed me. They spending the money, and some another schools. I don't want to keep all night talking about what school they don't have no PAC, but they have to understand the principle and staff. If they don't, there's no PAC. Do not touch the money and report you and let you know. Listen, we don't have no PAC. This is the reason we don't spend the money. So you can have in the record, and we can have the record what's going on if you don't get confused. Oh, why your school's not spending the money? So I'm a little concerned about that situation that we have no PAC in some school because they don't have no election, and they're using the money for the parents. And I'm not happy for that. I'm not happy that the school, the principal, they're using the money they're not supposed to use it for the school. That's a different budget. This money is for the parent. So we need to be checking that. So I'm worried about that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. The information that we received, it does show a pack for each of the schools. So we'll have to go back and double check that information. But the information that was sent from us to us from the administrators does show PAC members for each school.
And it's very important that I'm checking the citywide PAC members that we have BOE staff there. And now that we have the draft, we not that draft. We had the PAC bylaws. We had to follow the PAC of the bylaws. That's what they say. So like Joe is fighting, for so many years back, and now finally we got it. We have to understand that the citywide PAC and PTSO has to be parents and leaders from Bridgeport School and have to have a child inside the school. Now that parents and leaders back in PTSO vote for this, or have the district PAC and improve the district PAC bylaws, we have to follow the laws because the policy. The same way you follow the policy, the way same I follow the as a board member, we have to follow, this. I don't want no issues. I don't want no complaints. I don't want, oh, they don't do this right. This is what happened. No, we want the district PAC nicely so that we can work all together at the same time and we be on the same page. So that's why I'm watching the citywide PAC members and then checking the budget, what you send it to me to us. Sometimes they don't look at, they don't match for me. And trust me, I'm on top of that. I'm on top of this because as the experience I have for almost 20 years and running and doing budget and everything, this money is for the parents. This money is not for the staff or principal. That's why I have a different, budget. So I want to be clear that I don't want the state and the Hartford come later after us and say, why is Bridgeport not doing the job the way it's supposed to be? Because I know, remember years back, we always got a Title I book, and that's to show each month what parents are doing in each school. And it's very good that we, in the next meeting, we can bring, let them know each leader, you need to have a Title I book. So a binder, what you do each month in your school. I know some leaders, they're asking some questions about how to do a meeting, via Zoom, stuff like that. And that's, what you can do, you be sure you make the report and you have that in your books. So we have to be, on top of this. It's very, I don't want, they say Bridgeport's not doing the job the way it's supposed to be.
Right, I agree. And I have been meeting individually with some PAC and PTSO leaders to help them with the budget. So in your conversations with them, if there's anything I can do to support them, I can meet with them individually as well.
Do you have any question, Mr. Joe or Ms. Brown?
Yeah, I got a little something. As far as can we start getting like who's meeting and when? Just like a list of meeting dates similar to the expenditure report, like Park City met on such and such date, this one met on such and such date, so we can start tracking that as well and just lend supports to those who aren't actually meeting and try to find out why they're not meeting and get them a little bit on track.
I'm not sure who that would be requested from, or whether it would be the administrator or the parent leader. But I can ask to see what the process might look like to get some information about meeting dates.
Yeah, because there was a time where there would be meetings, minutes would be posted on the school website, but it's fallen off in the last maybe about 3 years or so, I think. It's started getting less and less, at least a couple of schools I was paying attention to. Albert might have a little bit, Mr. Benahan might have a little bit more about that.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, sure, Mr. Joe. Thank you for bringing that. And before, in the website they have a, let's give sample math school, Bassett High School, and they put in the website, we're gonna have a meeting this day, we're gonna do this workshop, we're gonna have this and then, the parents, so we can track how many meetings, each leader have in each school. So it will go to, know how many times the PAC leaders meet with the parents. Because one thing is good to have a title, and another thing is you have to do the job the way it is. I know they don't get paid for this. As a board member, we don't get paid for this. But if you want to be a president or you want to be a vice president, you want to be a PAC or PTSO, you commit like you want to work with parents. So if you want to work with parents, that's mean you have to communicate with the parents. We like to know how you communicate with the parents. And if you don't know how, that's what we're here for, to help them. So sometimes some of them, they don't have how to communicate, and I really contact them and I show them how to do it. So it's very important that and the principal is part of this communication because that's his building. So the principal is supposed to know when PAC or PTSO leaders communicate with the parents. So I don't know, Ms. Russia, you or Mr. Testani, let them know the principal and the leaders when you meet, with them, so they can give you a date. Oh, I'm gonna meet this date with this PAC, leaders, via Zoom, stuff like that, so we can know they're doing something. Because it's good to spend the money, but how to spend the money, with who and how.
Sure, I'm happy to ask that question.
I don't have any questions, but I echo the same response as Joe, because I do think that it is important so that even if us as board members would like to support you, Ms. Rocha, and all the PAC members, I would like to do that as well in my free time if I have it.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Also, Ms. Rocha, is something very important that I would like to get it for the next meeting, if it's possible. How the leaders are spending the money. Who's the vendor? That's my question. How to spending the money? Who's the vendor? How they spending the money? Because I don't want later, like we wrote a sample last year, we find out they video PAC leaders spend the money for the school because it was the last minute. They want to use the money and they want to spend the money. No, that's not. We don't want things last minute. Everybody going crazy. That's like you said. Let's do it for the last year, this month. To be sure you spending the money correctly for the parents. I don't want in the let's say in March. Yeah, March. Let's buy 20 computers, or tablets or Chromebook for who? You get my point. So I don't want leaders spend the money just crazy like that for the school. No, this money is for the parents. So that's I'm a little concerned about that. When they do the P10, each leader, like to know who's the vendors. And I know the city had to approve it, had to send it to Michael, stuff like that, because I know the city is returning back some documents say I don't prove this because you need another vendor, And I don't want Mr. Russia to either, and I know my committee be part of this, that I don't want the city or the building department send it back the forms all these PAC leaders are doing. Let's find out a solution they can approve it and then we keep forward because April is in the corner. I can say, April right now, February is done. And we're gonna start March soon. So they have 1 month to spend the money. So I don't want the city and the building department, reject, because we know what the leaders are gonna do. I'm not gonna do this no more. I'm not gonna. And you already have a conversation with one of the leaders from Bassett High School, Tommy Ball. They rejected so many times when she was doing the P10. And I know she was right. She was correct because I'm the former PTSO and I showed her how to do it. How come they reject her P10s? So I don't want the city and the building department to reject so many things because the leaders are gonna say, I'm not gonna do this no more. I don't have no time for this. We don't want that. We don't want that. I don't want the city and the building reject. If they know they buying and they order stuff for the parents and for the school for next year, let's prove it and let's keep forward. I'm more concerned in that situation that next week I'm gonna start calling and to see how all these leaders are spending the money and who are the vendors, because I know that the vendors have to be from the city, and be sure the money is using correctly for the parents, not for the school. Because if I see something is for the school or for the staff, and I know it for the record, I'm not gonna be happy. I'm not gonna be happy, and I'm gonna report her if they're not using the money for something. It's not for the parents. You know, parents is my priority, and without parents, it's no schools, no education, it's nothing. We are either we're gonna be right like right now in this meeting, because the parent is the one send the kid, you know, for the school, so we can keep forward. So that's only my concern. Mr. Joe, you have any question, Miss Brown?
No question.
Miss Brown, she's
I'm
taking
all
some.
set, no questions.
Oh, okay. All right. So, any question, Ms. Rocha? So I can keep going in my agenda.
I'm all set. Thank you.
All right. Anything, Ms. Rocha, I'm going to email it to you, so and everything, so we can keep it pushing. We're gonna push more all these leaders before April 1st, you know, so they can spend the money. And thank you so much, Ms. Rocha, for your hard work and everything you do. I know it's not easy. Everything is new for you, but you know that's why we're here to work together, you know, and be on the same page.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is I'm gonna give the floor for number 5 and number 6. So, Mr. John, that's yours, and you have the floor. Thank you so much for being with us.
Was that me? You were breaking up. You were
It's
breaking up. Was that me?
Yeah, it's you,
Oh,
Mr. John.
great. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen to show the. Wait, how do I do this? Okay. Can you see what's on my screen? Was that yes?
No.
No, nothing yet.
Okay, hold on. Okay. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I was asked to bring the bully data from the beginning of the school year till now. So the screen that you're viewing now is the bullying by school. These are the substantiated cases, the cases that were substantiated for actual bullying. So there were 4 cases that were substantiated up until now. These are the number of allegations. There are 13 allegations. These are the kids or parents that are accusing other kids of bullying them. So there are 13 allegations from the beginning of the school year until now. Any questions on this particular data? Because the next slide would be on the assaults and on the physical altercation.
You said 13 because I count 14 in this bully allegation.
3, 4, 6, 7, 10.
14, you're correct. I don't know why that number generated, but this is computer generated, so I don't know why it says 13. You are correct, it's 14 allegations.
All right.
And how does that? I'm sorry, I got a question. How does that compare to this time last year? I know it. Well, it's really hard to do comparison these years with this.
Correct. So that's what I was gonna say. Like I didn't compare the numbers, but I can get that for you because I can just do a search. But to compare the numbers, it wouldn't be right as a COVID.
Would all these allegations be in-person allegations or some of this cyberbullying or online?
So the cyberbully question comes up a lot. So the state doesn't have a mechanism in Power School to collect what the infraction was in the bully situation. So there's no label for cyberbullying. That would have to go through the IT department to determine whether or not these were on remote or in person. However, we can drill down if we go into Power School and look at each and every one of these infractions to determine whether it was cyberbullying or not. I have not done that as of yet, but that's something that we can do is go through each of these cases to find out if there's cyberbullying. Each of these cases, though, were investigated by the school. That's why they're still on the allegations page. The one before this, those were the ones that were investigated and they were proven to be substantiated cases, and those names were then turned into the state as infractions of bullying.
Okay, thank
I
you.
have a question. Does this cover race and ethnicity?
Does it cover? I didn't hear that last part.
Does this cover the students' race or ethnicity?
We don't break it down from race or ethnicity. If I would have known that, I could have asked PJ to do that. So if you require that information, I can. That's easier to get than the cyberbullying piece, because that's just a click of a button that he can do to give me that information.
Yeah,
But
I would like
but
to
but on
see
this,
if I can
oh,
add
I'm
it.
sorry.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I would like to add, see if we can add that, because then it will also help us with our inclusion and diversity committee as well.
Okay. I can see what we can do about that. So looking at the screen here, the protected class and the non-protected class. The protected class would always be students with if they're bullied with regard to race, sex, or gender. So that would be a protected class. All of those things I just mentioned. The non-protected would be just straight out bullying because they don't like the person. Any other questions before I go to the last slide, which is the physical altercations?
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Ms. Brown said is just a comment. We've been trying to get the data for the diversity and stuff. We're trying to foment the culture across the district in reporting and data collection to have this kind of data actually fingertip ready, and keep reiterating it through different meetings and such. So it's just good for everybody to try to keep in mind that this is going to be something that the board is going to be focusing on tremendously, because it's just to watch for trends and what have you, and see if there needs to be a certain group get more help than another group, or vice versa.
Okay. Any other questions before I go to the last slide? Okay. So the last slide is fights and physical altercations. I want to put a caveat on this. This is not my data, but I'm going to share it. And I understand this part of the data, but this is not generated by my office. So if you look at this chart, the first chart would be physical fights and altercations. That is by the school. And the second list of numbers are the students. And wait, the first, I'm sorry, let me go back. The first list is the infractions by incidences by the students. The second column would be individual students. So if you look down at Madison School, you will see that there's 12 students. Then if you look over, you'll see 5 students. So those 5 students accounted for the 12 physical altercations. Does everybody get what I'm saying with that? So those 5 students that are on the last column account for all of the incidences on the first column. And Madison School's an outlier. I don't know why that's 12, but that means 5 students accounted for 12 physical altercations.
Mr. Young,
Go ahead.
how come you have something different that we have something different? Because I have something different what you're showing to us right now. In the package, they sent us, the 5 physical aggressive 2020, 2021, and you have something different that we don't, you show us here.
This was given to me. Okay, this was given to me by the superintendent's office. So I'm sharing this data. I don't generate this data. So this was given to me this week by the superintendent's office.
May
so I can double check, but this was given to me to.
May I speak for a minute?
Go ahead.
Yeah, yes, Mr. Plana, can you explain me the situation?
So the figures that we provided in the packet are the latest figures as of this week. The figures that are shown here in the screen are the figures from the last meeting. So they reflect, I believe it was 3 weeks ago. So that's where the difference is.
So the update, the last one is the one in the package, or the one Mr. Young showed to us?
The one that Mr. Young showed you is as of, I believe, January 22nd. And the ones that you see in the packet are as of, let me find the date. I believe it's probably like yesterday or something like that, this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to be sure, because I don't want to get confused, because, we see something and then the parents is watching this and everyone, so we got different information. So I was lost in that part. That's why I asked for it. Thank you, Mr. Plana. Okay, Mr. Young, you keep going. Sorry.
Oh, that's the end of my presentation. I was only asked to present those 3 items.
Mr. Joe, do you have any question? And Ms. Brown?
I got some. Yeah, I got 1 or 2. Could you bring back up, Mr. Young? Can you please bring back up the screen
Which slide?
with the fights?
Yes. Mhm.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Going to Madison School. Number of fights would be 12, and a distinct number of fights, physical aggression, 5. We're looking at Madison School. So we're saying that's 5 individuals involved in 12 fights, correct?
Well, yes, those 5 individuals, yes, were involved in all 12 of those fights, yes.
Okay, and can we, now the 12 fights they were involved in are some of the same people involved in the number of 12. For instance, if I had a fight with Mr. Benahan, and then that would be counted as one fight, correct? And then if the next week I had another fight with Mr. Benahan, that would be counted as a second fight. But it would be 2 fights and 1 aggressor. But Mr. Benahan had 2 fights. But he didn't.
Right.
The number of the 5 is the initiators of the fight.
Well, I don't know what that accounts for. All I know is that the 5 are the 5 individuals on that side are involved in some aspect of the 12 on the other side. So it could be you had a fight with me, that still would account for another incident, but you would be one of the 5.
Right. Yeah, because what I'm trying to get at is if like one says, I'm having a little trouble articulating. If one person is involved, because there's always a winner and a loser, and some people try to walk away, and some people get their butts kicked all the time. But now, if the same person is involved in the 12 getting their butt kicked 12 times, you get what I'm trying to say? No, I'm not articulating it very well. I'm worried in this. There's a kid that's maybe getting bullied that's not being reflected because he's been in like 4 or 5 fights.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Bully reflected in the number of 5 because he's starting to fights with a particular, or that there's maybe 3 people fighting separately with one person, and it's not being captured under bullying, but it's like the same damage being done as if it was fitting the technical definition of bullying.
So that I wouldn't know. So I can call and find out whether I can get that information from Madison School itself, because that would not be in the documentation. It wouldn't be in the school information. School to find out any of those led to like a bully investigation or a bully allegations or anything like that. So I can drill down that information to see where that's from. But again, this is not my data, so that's why I don't have that information, but I can find out for you. Yeah.
And also, I would also like to know how that would compare. I know, again, it's a different year, but these are definitely in-school fights. I'm wondering how it compares, even proportionally to last year or what have you, because the figure should be a little less since there's less kids, so it should be less of a proportion. Or if the stress making it actually disproportionate amount of fighting, and that leads to another type of thing we got to do to address it.
Okay, I can ask PJ for that information from last year.
Yeah, and I think that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Joe.
Sorry, you can leave the screen down. We're seeing that there's 47 fights. Now, as a parent, before I got on the board, if my son would get into a fight, or if he wasn't aggressive in the fight, I would say my son was bullied, because I don't know the definition, and I would do 47 fights and basically 14 bullying allegations. Is that like a normal kind of ratio that comes out?
Repeat the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was saying most parents don't know what the definition of bullying is. So if their kid comes home with a bloody nose, then they might be more likely to report it as a bullying incident. So
Correct.
I'm just wondering if the 14 to 47 ratio between allegations to physical altercations is a normal ratio or what have you. Not that it's a bullying incident, but it's reported as such. Because as you know, in the past we've had problems with underreporting. I just want to make sure.
Correct. Well, but and the bloody nose thing too. So remember, I think you were on the board at that time that the definition of bullying changed slightly, where they talked about if someone was physically assaulted and it was a big issue, it caused a disturbance to the building or the person had to go to the hospital, that could be considered a one-time incident of bullying. So that was a new thing, that legislation that came down from the state. So we did train the staff for that new caveat.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think I absorbed that actually, because
yes,
it's seeming new to me. So I don't think I actually absorbed the new definition. So, so could you? I'm sorry. Could you?
The old definition is still in place. So multiple multiple situations where someone is bothering someone else, that's still in play. However, if there's something, a huge event that disrupts the educational flow, which causes the school to either go into lockdown or causes someone to go to the hospital, that would be considered a catastrophic kind of event. That can be considered a one-time bully situation, and that kid can be labeled a bully.
Yeah, I'm not so worried about the label, but as much as the addressing of what happens in the.
Correct. Well, we do address it.
Right, yeah, I know. Awesome. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Ms. Brown, you have any questions, Ms. Brown?
No questions.
Thank you. I know that Mr. Yan, where you showed you the screen and what we have. I know they say fire unvisible aggression 2021, like Mr. Plana said, this information for a few days. But Mr. Joe, do you have this package that they sent it to us?
I don't have that last one you were discussing, or the reading from. I don't have that one.
I just want to know my committee, me, Joe and Bobby have that, because I know you show us like a 12 fight in Madison, and this one is more, it's 15, fight, stuff like that. So I want Mr. Plana send it to you so you can see, the different. But for you, Mr. Young, when you put the number of 5 in physical aggression, that's coming for fight, or that's coming because the fight start because the bullying, or it's something too different? Because I would like to see when it's fight, I understand that, but I just want to know, is this bullying? You got my point? So
you're asking if any of those fights were a result of being bullied? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That chart that I showed you is not my data. So what I would have to do is speak with PJ so we can investigate those, so that we can find out if that's truly the case, that it was a direct line from being bullied and it ended in an altercation. So I would have to look into that, but I can do that. That's easy.
I would appreciate that. Maybe the numbers can get low when it's about bullying, because when I see Madison School 15, and I see all this schools or elementary school, I'm like, wow, because I'm glad I don't see high school be involved, because I know years back high school was terrible. Only high school have only 1, and we won 0, but I'm very glad that high school have only 1. The other high school got nothing here, say high school, but they see elementary school. But I would like to see if it's possible, if this fight start because of bullying. So I would like to see the fight start because of bullying. If it's just fight, I understand, and I understand that we don't want that, but I just want to know about how everything starts. If it fight or if they start the fight because of bullying. When you get the information, you can send it to us. I will appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Plana, you got your hands up. Please, you got the floor.
Mr. Benhan, I just wanted to, I was prepared in January to talk a little bit about this. I just want to make sure that you know, and by the way, this data, although Mr. Young takes care of the bullying aspect of it. The data really is done through data management. So there's a piece that's important to understand in understanding the data, and that is that this is the number of also physical aggression. So it doesn't have to be a fight per se. It could be that a student is playing a game and pushes someone else, or is walking in the hallway and not someone else. So it doesn't have to be an all-out fight, but it could be that someone just gets upset and pushes and shoves someone else. So and so that by itself might not be a bullying issue. So it might not get to Mr. Young at that point. But I just, when I'm listening to the conversation, I'm hearing you speak, hearing the group speak about fights altogether, and I just want to make sure that you know that that this is not only fights; it's also in a big portion of it was about physical aggression. I don't have the exact numbers of one versus the other. I know it took a long time to develop this chart because there were about 135 incidents that we had to look at. And actually, by the way, in comparison to last year, this is like very small number. And obviously, because of COVID and the amount of students in class, the number of, the fact that, we're not in classes where they're close together. So there's a lot of things that come into play. But I just want to make sure that your committee understands that it's not only fights, it's also physical aggression.
No, I understand, Mr. Plana. Thank you for giving us information. I understand. That's why I said, Mr. Young, to be sure, is everything about is a fight, and I know when you say fight, it's about can be anything, or because you look me, or because you throw me the paper, because you do it, they always something. Fight is start with something, anything. But that's why I just want to put that separate. If it's the fight start because you take my pencil, or because you touch my girlfriend, things like that. So I understand that, but I just want to know if it's the fight start because of bullying. That's those two different things. And I understand what you say, Mr. Plana, but Mr. Young understand what I want. So when he get a chance, he can send it to me, the information. So I want to have that. I appreciate that, Mr. Plana. Thank you for correct. Mr. You all set, Mr. Young, then?
Mr. Benahan.
Yes, Mr. Plana.
Yeah, I'd just like to raise something up because sometimes the narrative gets a little confusing. I would like to point out Madison School, and I would like to really raise it up. And 15 incidents in one school reported in physical violence. I would like to thank the people in Madison School for effective reporting. It's not the number of incidents that is problematic. It's what happens after the incidences that needs to be addressed. Now, schools that have 0 incidences, I look at them, and I don't think so. I don't think our students vary from neighborhood to neighborhood. I think as a person who works and we want to stay out of trouble, we want to keep things down because reporting an incident may lead to extra paperwork and extra headaches. But Madison School, they made 15 reports, and I think we should look at Madison School to how do we effectively do these reports, because it's got to be understood by the staff that just reporting instances is not going to give them problems. Reporting the incidences that happen in their building is the right thing to do, and it's not going to be now if a person's not reporting it and we find out later on that something happened that they swept under the rug, that's a big problem. And I would expect the superintendent would address that much more forcefully than he would if there's violence outbreaks in a school that's really reported and addressed appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joe. Appreciate your comments. We'll be on top of that. All right, Ms. Young, if you're all set, thank you so much for giving a report. I'm going to wait for you for send us the report. So when you get a chance, we like to, put in, the update. Thank you. So, Ms. Brown and Ms. Joe, you don't have no more questions, no, nothing else to add on the agenda. I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
And now second.
Thank you so much. So thank you for everyone. Thank you for the superintendent's office always help us to be sure everything is correct. Thank you for Mr. Plana. Thank you for my committee. Thank you for everyone. I'll see you Monday at the board education meeting. Enjoy your weather, Ms. Brown.
Yes,
Will do.
I'm looking at Unreal Together right now.
All right. Okay,
Bye,
God
everyone.
bless you. Mr. Plana, thank you for everything.
Good night.
Have a good night.